Great coaches. Yeah, there's just, again, so many big things happening right now. The head-to-heads as well, right? It's going to be interesting to see how the calls right now will be coming in from Russ and Ellie Moore. Now that we heard as well from Spin that they're trying to get Benkai more involved in this GE roster. So is that really going to help them ultimately here into the series? So many things that is being adjusted by both teams in different ways, and it's going to have to culminate here and now.
And you just gotta love Blaze King, you know, going over with the friendly trash talk, right? For the Indonesians on the other side, of course, Blaze King as well knows these players so well. And you look at T1, right? They use the Indonesian to defeat the Indonesians. Could that be the same here for the side of GE?
I mean, we've been kind of waiting for one of those, like, classic Blaze King games. I mean, he was so dominant in APAC for so long. He's been okay so far here in Pacific, but he hasn't had, like, that statement game, that game where he shows up and starts getting aces and taking over rounds. So I definitely have my eyes onto him to see if he can step it up a little bit. Maybe that's part of the move as well, with Benkai kind of chiming in with the calls.
Well, let's see indeed how this series go. It is map number 1. Let's toss it on over to Quack and William.
Thank you very much, Mika, Paperthin, and Asteroid. Yes, that is right. This is going to be Global Esports versus RRQ. Some familiar faces, but at the same time, very critical moments, right? Third week.
Yeah, I mean, GE, obviously they just talked about it ad nauseum, but GE just desperately need a win, right? You don't want to go out in stage 1 as the team that didn't ever get a win. Let alone now on RRQ, they thought they might have it locked in, but everyone on Omega is starting to look better and better. You know, even DFM thought they were going to try to challenge a little bit after taking down T1. Things are absolutely in flux, so especially with this kind of creative format with the cross-group round robin, this is an absolutely do or die for both sides.
And RRQ has always been improving. Sometimes, you know, just not quite narrowly making out to a win. You know, they did beat teams like Bleed last week against T1 was a little bit rough. But today the map picks do seem to favor them a little bit more.
You know, I like to think that I've done my job last year as the RRQ Glazer, because now people are saying like, oh, they're like one of the powerhouses. I'm thinking like, I don't know, they might need some more time. It feels like they might need to cook a bit more. But obviously today, with 2GE coming in, we'll see how that changes things. We are going to see, of course, 2GE highlighted as it's its first match here in 2024 for RRQ. But we'll be picking up that Omen. Even Coach Spin saying it shouldn't make too big of a difference. Obviously, I think you still expect the same exact compositions.
He's still very much involved with the team, and he's always been that good. We don't always get to see him play, but you know he's always around. Meanwhile, we're just taking a look at the compositions across the board, William. It's practically the same, right? And we've seen how both teams have performed so far, but RRQ has always been the one that's looking a little bit more impressive with some of their setups.
Yeah, and this Lotus match, actually, I think the first two matches are going to be very interesting because they have very differing tendencies and styles that could counteract each other, right? Depending on how they've kind of what their POV is on that prep. So RRQ, one of the things that really caught them off guard when they were going up against T1 was that they relied a little bit too heavily, especially when they were on the attack side, on that 1-4 setup. And then on the defense as well, they were kind of waiting to see the util and then trying to react to it, etc. Whereas Global Esports also maybe relies too much on their own util to try to make an attack as well.
And a lot of it falls onto the shoulders of players like Holy, for example, especially when they are attacking. And that's exactly what we're going to have once we kick off the map. Global Esports on the attack, RRQ defending.
So GE, Global Esports, what I would love to see today, win or lose, is being a bit more proactive with the timer. What we saw in their previous matches, both against Talon and DRX, was that they would kind of rely on holding on to B main, see if there's robo control from the opponents, and then slowly start to retake control past the 1 minute mark. But at that point, you're starting to run out of time and options. So I'd love for them to, you know, maybe take some contact plays as well, sprinkle that in a couple rounds to see if they can take advantage of the tempo that you have.